Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here, and this is the start of the Warhammer 2 Dark Elf campaign, or more specifically the Warhammer 2 Elf Naggaroth campaign, playing as Malekith. So, obviously, I have gotten a little bit of a gameplay in with some of the other factions. I've kind of tried it out a little bit, and I've been doing quite a bit of quick match with Warhammer 2, so I wanted to give it a shot and just try out some good old war campaign, and yeah, just seeing how things go with Malekith. So right off the bat, we did get a few missions. Definitely something I'm liking a lot better about immediately is, of course, the fact that the UI is, I think, a little more informative. A little better, I think, organized and descriptive. You can see your army's upkeep right off the bat, which is very nice. And yeah, that sort of stuff. The Lord trees, I think, have been made much better. Yeah, so we'll kind of go through and yeah, we'll see how things go. So right off the bat, there are some nasty Skaven over here, and I'm kind of outnumbered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fall back to my city, hopefully bait them into fighting me. I'm going to recruit a bunch of Dread Spears. I don't really want to recruit Dark Shards until I have Dark Shards with shields, at least not more than I have to. Let's see if we have any tech available. We can do... All these are pretty decent. I'm probably going to go for growth, because otherwise growth tends to be a little slow. And yeah, we can basically just end turn right there and see how things go. One of the nice things is that we do get immediate access to a harbor. And this is actually kind of important because the fact that we start with a harbor available means that we'll be able to get a Black Ark fairly quickly. You know, hopefully we can use that to kind of raid and harass the world around. So we do now have a 10 stack, and I think that should be adequate to fight the Skaven. Skaven do have 2 units of Stormrunner and Halberds, which are a bit of a threat, and they definitely have Night Runners, and these guys could be... Well, actually, those are the range units, obviously. Yeah, this should be fairly simple and straightforward. So we're going to fight, and we'll see how things go. Obviously, we do have some pretty solid units starting out. We do have good old Blackguard of Naggaroth. These guys should probably be able to take on most of this Skaven army by themselves. We also have bolt throwers, and the Dark Shards are actually not bad against armor, so they should definitely be able to tear through those Skaven units pretty quickly. The biggest problem is that Skaven ranged units do perform reasonably well against Dark Elf Dark Shards when they don't have shields. So I'm definitely gonna have to be a little wary of that. And yeah. Unfortunately, the loading times do seem to be a little longer, and I think that after this battle, I might cut out the loading times and simply, and yeah, so that way you guys don't have to watch through all of that, because it's taking a little bit of a while. Yeah. Alright, so we do get a decent amount of magic right off the bat. One of the nice things is that Malekith has a single lore of magic. I do believe his only lore is the lore of darkness. Unfortunately, Marathi, who I have tried a little bit over campaign, has a mixed lore, and one of the few disappointments as far as campaign goes for me with this game has been the fact that the mixed lores, rather than being sort of like what you had with Manfred in Warhammer 1, where you basically pick, you just have 2 lores and you can spec into them however you want. The mixed lores here, you're given a pre-selected, you're basically given pre-selected units, and these guys I think only have a charge against large, which is a little unfortunate, but it's okay.
The Witch King. Bolt throwers, we are ready.
But yeah, definitely one of the things is that you're just given certain magics and from different lores, and you're stuck with those. So you can't really customize your lord's loadout of spells or anything like that, cycle through them in the game, like you can with Manfred and Warhammer 1. So I think that was definitely one of the few things that disappointed me a little bit. So we're gonna start battle. I'm gonna push forward a little bit, and yeah. Unfortunately, the bolt thrower for the Dark Elves does have a little bit less range. I will try to focus on the Stormvermin with halberds. And you can see it's doing decent amounts of work to these guys. Stormvermin, of course, do not have the best of HP per model, but even the elite Skaven infantry tends to be pretty squishy and raw HP. So, and if they decide to stand still, that is ideal. What we're going to do though is we're going to push back forward a little bit, and yeah, just shell away at them. I definitely need, as long as the Stormvermin with halberds go down, I should be okay. I will try to focus them out immediately. I'm not entirely sure which spells I do have. I do have Chill Wind, which we'll see what happens. Huh. Okay. It's a decent amount of work, and we can see how the as the Dark Shards start going to work. Dark Shards do immense amounts of work or damage. You can see here they're just absolutely shredding through these Stormvermin. Not necessarily picking off the most models, but definitely doing quite a bit of work. And we can definitely and we can free some units, some enemy units here, and just slaughter them. So we're gonna get some charges in. We do want to be a little cautious about the enemy skirmishers out on our flanks, and we're simply going to have to push into the heart of our opponent's army here, and push them with the guard of Naggaroth. What we don't want to do is we want to try to whittle down these Stormvermin if at all possible. This is going to push Malekith in, and I'm going to cast another Chill Wind. And unfortunately, you can, I do believe, now rotate you can now rotate wind spells. I definitely just need to get an idea of how exactly that's supposed to work. As you can see, we are capable of pushing in a little bit, and we'll try to hit those guys in the back with some scatter arrows. And let's see. I want to see how the if we are capable of. There we go. Okay. Let's see what happens. There we go. Okay. Cool. Unfortunately, you can see I'm being harassed all the while by those annoying enemy shooting units, and definitely being a little overwhelmed here. The enemy definitely has a decent battlefield presence, I suppose. We're gonna try to put down some of these Skaven slave slingers. And you can see these clan rats, they're definitely falling apart. They're not doing too hot. And we were picking them apart, showing some good old grape shot with the, or canister shot or whatever it is with the, Ripper. And we're gonna turn around here. We're gonna try to get some Dark Shards firing. You can see these spears are actually falling apart against this Lord, which is a little unfortunate. Definitely somewhat disheartening. Stormvermin are doing okay. You can see these guys are not doing that badly. The HP wise, but definitely a bit tight. We still haven't actually hit our. Let's see some. We need to recover some more routing units. Keep pressuring. The spears are not ideal against Skaven. They're definitely not a bad unit, but nothing too fancy. You can see we do get a bit of an okay cast there. This doesn't seem to be the most damaging spell. I do believe that there's a frostbite effect, so that's most likely what it's mostly meant to do. And now we're getting some decent damage out with some great boosts. Bolt thrower still firing away. We're gonna focus on these clan rats, and hopefully melt through these guys with Blackguard's help. And yeah. In the meantime, good old Malekith is whacking away on the Vermich, and yeah, we're going to cast a Wind of Death, or not Wind of Death, Chill Wind. That one seemed to do a lot more damage. I'm not entirely sure how that came about. And actually, you can see the Blackguard and Naggaroth is not actually doing too hot here. They're holding their own. Obviously, some of this is Stormvermin, but I would have expected them to handle themselves a little bit better with their high melee defense against the otherwise somewhat uninspiring stats of the. Somewhat uninspiring stats otherwise in the Skaven. See, we do get break here though. You can see good old Malekith is tearing through this poor lord, and yeah, we should be okay. I do believe these are Stormvermin, so we're going to cast a wind and hit him pretty hard. Nice, and that breaks him. In the meantime, lay the smackdown on some of these guys. And yeah, what we can actually do. We definitely don't want all of these units escaping. I do believe we can simply net some of them. Not entirely sure who. I definitely something I've definitely been liking more about High Elves. I actually think I enjoyed High Elves more than I enjoyed Dark Elves. at this point, simply because of the fact that we are going to try to slaughter these Stormvermin, because oh boy, that was a terrible cast. But something I've actually been enjoying a lot more about High Elves is actually the fact that their special ability, of course, their unique trait, martial prowess, kicks in immediately. They've got that constant early game or buff to melee defense and melee attack, and it's a pretty respectable boost. It's like plus, I do believe it's plus 12 and 2 to plus 12 to melee defense, plus 2 to melee attack, which makes their infantry much more respectable, much tankier, and I think I like it a lot better than Murderous Prowess. I know Murderous Prowess was talked up a whole bunch, and it is still a decent ability, but the fact that you have to wait for it to proc is a little bit of a weakness. You can also see here that the Skaven range spam can definitely do quite a bit of hurt over time. That infantry won't do anything crazy, but yeah, the range spam can do good. You can also see that the model losses were actually not that bad on the Blackguard, and this is definitely something something I think to keep in mind is even though their HP was fairly low, they didn't lose too many models, which is definitely very nice. And I think we'll definitely see that a bit throughout this game. And you can see Dark Shards did some absolute work. Dark Shards are monsters, but I don't like the vanilla Dark Shards without shields. It makes them very susceptible to range fire, and you definitely feel the weakness of that when you're playing against a faction like, for example, High Elves. AI is somewhat bad about focusing out your ranged units if they don't have a range advantage of their own. So it's not necessarily as much of an issue when you're dealing with Skaven or Lizardmen who have pretty weak ranged options, but when you're fighting against someone like High Elves with their 180 or 165 in the case of the Lothern Seaguard range, then it is definitely a major nuisance having to try to press through and getting shelled away at. Even with shields, you will take immense amounts of hurt, much less without them. So yeah, the loading times are definitely a bit bad, and I think it's yeah, I'm not entirely sure why. I actually think it's because I didn't manage to get this installed. I don't think I installed it on the SSD, which was a bit of a mistake. So yeah, but hopefully I'll cut out the loading times. I'll cut out the loading times for the remaining battles, and that way you guys don't have to suffer through it. Or I'll cut out parts of the loading times. So yeah, we can see we get some cool options. We can get slaves. We can just murder them. I definitely like this change to the execute captive slave thing. Before, the leadership bonus was kind of miserable, but now the experience is actually somewhat valuable. Ransom of captives, that's okay. It's some money. We don't need that much money. I'd rather slaves are pretty good for the economy. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna take. And yeah, that gives us control of, or no, it doesn't give us control of anything, I suppose, but it has allowed us to deal with those Skaven. It is possible that we have Skaven camping out in those ruins, so I'm going to recruit a few more troops here. We can get some more Dread Spears. We'll get a few more Dark Shards. And Malekith has leveled up, and so we can get Sea Dragon Cloak, we can level up Chillwind, so that you can overcast. That is another cool thing. I actually think this was a good idea. Now you have to invest into overcasting, and I think that was a good idea. I'm actually getting a Root Marcher. I just think this Root Marcher is still just so good. I feel like that's one skill. If there's one skill that's mandatory, no matter who you're playing against, what you're doing, it's Root Marcher. And yeah, you can see the income. You get a boost to income if you have slaves. Yeah. And your slave count does drop over time, but it's nothing too crazy. I do believe there's less factions on the map actually than there is in Warhammer 1, which isn't to say the map's smaller. The map I think is about the same, but the way the factions are laid out, a lot of the factions control much more territory I think than they do in Warhammer 1. Where basically each province is controlled by one faction. You can see we do run into a settlement here full with Skaven. That's something you don't see here in this sort of matchup, but something that I've definitely been sensing is that, and we can loot and occupy, which is what we're going to do. So something I've been noticing.
The buildings are crumbling.
And we get some more scrolls. We can look at our objectives, but something I've I've definitely been seeing has been that auto resolves are much harsher in this game than they were in Warhammer 1. In Warhammer 1, you could have some absolutely atrocious auto resolves, and with the exception of the fact that your heroes and some certain fast units tend to take exceeding amounts of damage, you honestly didn't have to worry about auto resolves hurting you too much. Now there's actually a legitimate, you actually have to legitimately consider fighting battles out, even if they're pretty favorable. Just because you tend to lose units quite a bit on anything that's not like a 90% win chance. We do have Lord of Dark though, so what we will do is we will actually start speccing into magic. I haven't really gotten to test out the Lord of Dark very much, so I want to give it a shot. And yeah, we're otherwise just waiting here to level up. I can repair some of these buildings with cash and
King of Naggaroth.
still waiting on that. That will be done next turn. And yeah, we can build some. I suppose we could keep building infantry, but I actually want bleak swords, so we're actually going to hold off a bit. Nice. That's another thing knocked out. And yeah, so we only have one objective, and that is to control province, which we should be able to achieve, I think, this turn. You can see we can level up our halls of mustering, which I actually think I'm going to try to move into a different province. One of the cool things about also there's one of the other cool. So honestly, there's a whole bunch. I guess there's really one of the cool things. There's actually a lot of cool things in that they kind of added or implemented, and the unique structures now, the unique luxury resource structures have been made much more valuable. Marble now, or they'll almost always come with some income, of course, and the resource itself, and they'll usually come with a third sort of improvement, which might be technology unlocks for the high elves in particular, or all sorts of upkeep reductions or construction cost reductions in the case of the marble quarry, and that sort of stuff, which I think is pretty cool. I definitely think it's a bit nifty. I'm gonna level up the halls of mustering there. And that leaves me with a little bit more space. I don't necessarily want anything. Not entirely sure what I want to invest in right now. Should definitely check out my diplomacy. I should have checked that out earlier.
Welcome to the Black
something that often
Choose
passes my mind.
agreeable.
One of the interesting things is that I do believe all factions can trade in this game, which is not true in Warhammer 1, not even in the base game, because of course greenskins cannot trade.
And cruel.
And that could be argued to be one of
The
their
Witch
unique faction
King
mechanics.
welcomes foolish
So yeah.
request.
So we're unloved and we can't get trade agreements very easily. It does look like we're just shy of. It's a little hard. That's one thing they could have definitely improved on, and they did not really improve on, is the lines. You can see there's oh, it looks like we're just shy of being able to reach that. Oh, you know what? This is Skaven Settlement, and the reason you can tell is because we are not able to go closer than this to that settlement. So it's obviously a Skaven Settlement. Regardless, we need to bring our public order under control. We need to do something. Money. I don't necessarily want the Dark Riders. Dark Riders are a bit lackluster. Shades are pretty cool, but I don't have that much money. So what we're going to do is we're just going to invest in some cash, and we can always scrap the income buildings later down the road. And yeah. The home-based economy also seems to be a little weaker for these guys, though. Maybe just perspective. I do, by and large, play, of course, Empire and Warhammer 1, so I do get spoiled sometimes. So, Altar of Cain or Sorcerer's Abode, and that'll give us some extra tech. And we're about to have a rebellion in Naggaroth, which kind of sucks, but maybe Skaven in here. That's okay. Get him. I do fear that most of this, if not all of it, might be Skaven. And up here we do have some Chaos guys. So we can issue a commandment. We can definitely use some public order. Yeah, we're definitely going to go for public order because our public order right now is pretty pitiful. You can see we're about to have a rebellion, and I'm not going to be able to do anything about that. But yeah, we can get. I do want to try some of these spells. We can get Spiteful Conjuration. I'm not entirely sure what this will do. If I level it up again, I'll get reduced Winds of Magic cost and reduced miscast chance, which is pretty cool. But what I think I'll do instead is I'll get Spiteful Conjuration, and then we'll go from there. And yeah, so we do. We'll repair that. We'll actually scrap the upgrade. I think we're about to get a population surplus. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a turn. We're gonna recruit some extra units, and then we are going to scrap the building there. And we need tech. We need tech. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you more growth. And I do believe that is basically it. We're gonna have to march quickly back, and I do believe there's Skaven here, and this might all be controlled by Skaven actually. In the early game, if you see a bunch of ruins near you, chances are it's all Skaven. We need to deal with it. This the Great Arena might actually be infested with Skaven too. So definitely something I need to look out for. Well, other things I've noticed, I guess, and I'm going over a whole bunch of stuff, I guess, is we got another commandment going and construct Naggaroth Dark Elf Tower.
You cannot hold us.
Is that tier 3? It is, but we're not going to get around to that all that soon. We're going to upgrade that. We're going to scrap this. And we are going to force march. So there have been some changes. Now, if you're in march stance, one of the things you may not know is now when you're in march stance, if you get attacked, you are not able to retreat. You are forced to stand and fight. And now you have to be wary of ruins constantly because chances are there's Skaven in just about every ruin. But yeah, one of the definitely nice things is that now you can, when you click on a faction, you can see kind of who they're at war with. Yeah,
Definitely not.
so pretty cool. If I click on the Skaven, it'll show me that they're at war with me, obviously. And I definitely want to save up enough slaves to get a Black Ark as soon as I can. Yeah, I think we're just gonna turn there. The Great Arena might be infested by Skaven. I'm definitely gonna have to kind of clear things out, search ruins, all that sort of stuff. Oh, we could definitely try to do that.
Come now, time is precious. Speak. Unthinkable.
Sure, don't look like it. Okay, that's all right.
My cruelty knows no limits.
I look at this one grumpy guy, and surprisingly, our chances here are pretty low. So let's see, what do we have? Black Ark Corsairs, Cold One Dread Knights. This is a bit worrisome. The rest of these units do seem pretty not that threatening. So we're gonna fight it, and I will. Yeah, we're gonna fight this one. So unfortunately, I did want to show that battle, but in hindsight, the recording ended up being very stuttery and laggy, even though the gameplay was not. The map was pretty terrible, and it was covered in trees, which might have been the result that the computer was already investing in just running the game, and the recording software was having issues. But regardless, there was not much to say for that battle. The map was pretty terrible, yeah, that's basically all there is to say. Hopefully, I don't know if this is going to be a recurring issue. I sure hope not. But the recording ended up being very, very laggy. So yeah, we're gonna pursue these guys. We're gonna run them down and allow it to resolve. We don't actually lose any units, which is fortunate. And we can slave. Now there are a bunch of Skaven. We can see that there's Skaven over there. And we have scrapped our thing here, so we can build something new. We can build Dark Riders, but I'm not too hyped for those. I don't really care for Den of Outlaws. Extra income would be nice, but not currently. It's not that important. Honestly, I don't have that much use out for any of these buildings. So they build slave pens and go from there. And in the meantime, we can get. I don't really care for Power of Darkness. Get Word of Pain. It seems like a pretty solid debuff, and we'll get Blade Wind. So yeah, actually fast march over. Go deal with those Skaven and hopefully wipe them out. I still can't afford a Black Arc currently. I only have actually. So I actually need a slave pen, and so this is actually not a bad idea. It'll allow me to get a Black Arc, and because Naggaroth is a port, that will mean I will be able to set that Black Arc going immediately. But yeah, all in all, I think so. The maps by and large have been better, but this one that I was just on, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to demonstrate because of the lag, have been better, I think, by and large. This should not be particularly hard, especially when we're fighting Skaven. Oh, happy populace. Strange, given that we are Dark Elves. Okay. Dark Elves do seem to be pretty grumpy people most of the time. Level up. And we can get some additional Dark Shards. We'll just max out on Dark Shards and Spears, and then we'll just scrap units as we need to. Once I get those slave pens, I'll be able to get a Black Arc, and I will definitely be able to check that out. And yeah, we're just going to end turn here. Unfortunately, the cost reduction or upkeep reduction does not affect non-Malekith armies, so I do have to be a little wary of that. I don't know if the Skaven are actually going to have the courage to fight me. Oh. So Skaven slaves are weak. Clan rat spears are pretty weak. But my army is pretty softened up. We're actually going to retreat. We're going to try to rebuild. Or build up a little bit. We'll go to Galore, and yeah. This is too many Skaven for us to really effectively deal with our current composition. We'll retreat to over there. We will level up and get our Dark Shards level ranked up to a more comfortable level. I do want Witch Elves if possible, and let's see. I could get Fur, but this is the tannery is one of the few places that does not improve anything in particular. We still aren't quite able of getting those extra units, but we can get a few more Dead Spears and those extra crossbowmen. We could also recruit some lords. I don't think we can recruit any heroes, but we could recruit a lord. This actually seems to be better, this spiteful trait, so we're actually going to take that. And we do want to be a little careful as to her loyalty. We like that one. What's his face? That's not something. Obviously, we will have to wait a little bit for that. One of the disadvantages for when playing as, or I think it's one of the effects. It might not necessarily always be a disadvantage, but one of the side effects or whatever of playing as Malekith is that his that's a lot of beastmen. There's a lot of chaos unit troops, I suppose, all the way up here, but because this is, I guess, the northernmost kind of edge of their territories. But
my cruelty knows no limits.
Malekith shares his XP with his other lords, which I guess is not necessarily just a bad thing, but
I know my path.
Not exactly a great thing either.
Favored of the Witch King. Dreadlord, awaiting command.
Moving.
We can group up and yeah, we can hopefully build up some troops on her. And
For the Witch King.
we definitely want a decent amount of melee against Skaven. because their troops are pretty garbage, but there will be a lot of them. Does look like there's a whole bunch of warring going on. Yeah, the Skaven will be a problem. Does look like they've actually built up a bit. Most of these are pretty trash tier units though, so we could actually auto-resolve. Yeah, we might as well. These are pretty... It's just clan rats and spears. Let's see what happens. Oh boy. Actually, I think this is kind of a good example though. That you can see just how... you can see how the auto-resolve mechanic in this game can kind of work. Or how it works, I suppose. That you will actually be losing units a lot. And this was not really the case in Warhammer 1 unless your units were very badly beaten up. That's when you'd have to be cautious about losing stuff. And here, I lost 2 or 3 units, I think. Which is a pretty crazy effect, really. So, these beastmen are not something I appreciate roaming through my turf. I'm going to have to go try to hunt them down, probably. These guys are actually at war with me. This was something that definitely caught me by surprise before when I was playing as Marathi.
I have never been much of a diplomat.
Norska declares war. That's unsurprising. They are Norska after all. Just to be a little careful. And yeah, so we can now...
End them. Merciless host.
If you were get caught in march stance, you are no longer allowed to retreat. Which I think is pretty cool. Before you could, there was a lot of issues where someone, especially AI, but
King of Naggaroth.
they'd push in and then retreat. They'd be in march stance, and you'd catch them, and then they'd just retreat, and they'd just march away from you, and you wouldn't be able to catch them. And that's been changed, I think, for the better. So now I think we should be able to just deal with these annoying Skaven. We do need to push pretty close.
It cannot be done. Next, destruction. Unthinkable.
And I don't know if they control anything. If the Skaven control anything else. And yeah, we should auto-resolve. Honestly, I don't understand where these odds come from. The Skaven units are pretty bad, and they fall apart rather quickly. Regardless, we can loot and occupy, which means even more slaves, and
There's destruction
it actually means that they're annihilated. That's pretty cool. And we've captured 500, we've occupied, looted, or raised some armor, and yeah, we can now recruit we can perform a rite and get ourselves a Black Ark.
Tyrant of Naggaroth. This is a fool's errand.
It's pretty crazy. I like it. So it allows you to recruit Corsairs and Black. So it allows you to recruit all that stuff. It has a bunch of different stances, I think.
We have a deal.
And so you're able to basically build up. Huh, that's pretty crazy. Okay. So I guess we need to be tier 2 for almost everything. Oh no, it's like a horde. It's like a horde building on top of. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm a little confused, but it's cool. We can recruit some Corsairs, and yeah, we'll see how things go. I suppose this is probably, many of these are also occupied by the Skaven.
Dark servant.
By this point, with the loss
Onwards!
of
Onwards!
this city, I think the Skaven will be, and the army that was here, I think the Skaven are going to be in quite a bit of trouble. They'll definitely be struggling a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to repair there. We're not going to build a recruiting structure. We'll simply build a income building. And we did level up a little bit with Malekith, so we'll be able to get him some new stuff. We can actually get him a Cold One mount, which is pretty cool. And we do eventually want to get Seraphon, which is his dragon. Get him Sadistic. We can get Eternal Hatred. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get Sadistic just for that extra bit of those extra stats. And she can get some level. She's leveled up a little bit. We'll get Route Marcher, and we'll get Inspiring Presence. We'll just start specking her into some infantry or army, basically. And in the meantime, back here, we can level up our crafting districts, get some extra money. One of the important things to keep in mind is that fortifications, unlike in Warhammer 1, where I think fortifications are basically a must-have, it's not really up for debate. In this game, they're much more optional. You can easily get by without it's not, well, the alternative structures are so valuable, oftentimes, that there is an actual sort of you actually have to think about it a little bit and decide which units or what buildings you actually want to build. Before, you could for basically every faction, you could do fortifications, economy, and have an open slot for basically anything you wanted. But now it's much more up for debate, and you can kind of think about what it is that you exactly want in each city. So I think that's definitely been a major improvement, just in making the game a little more, a little better. Usually those beastmen wandering around, I'm gonna pursuing would be a little rough, and they're almost out of my territory anyway. So I'll do one more turn of harassment. You can see the Munglar over there being a nuisance, and I don't think they have quite the move range to reach Kylora. If they do, I'm kind of dead. I don't think. Yeah, I don't have them.
Cease your provocations.
I'm actually going to move. I'll move them all the way back. One of the nice things is that your public order is actually not based on corruption, which is true in the case of Wrathy, who needs corruption to function. We cannot enter Camp Stance as Dark Elves, but what we can do is we can recruit some Bleak Swords and then start kind of recruiting other somewhat better units as we go along. In the time we do have our good old Black Arc. Those stats are kind of hilarious. Oh, so we can't. Oh, we need to be in. Okay, we need to be in moving stance. And we'll take those who escaped, which gives us a little bit of money and some extra campaign movement range.
Black-hearted Dreadlord. We have a deal.
So we can continue sailing. And
I
yeah.
admire your darkness. Plotting a course.
Speak whilst you can. We will hear. Deny.
Still can't get a non-aggression pact, which is a little unfortunate. I'm not entirely sure what the objectives still are. We actually have a lot of objectives. So we need to build an altar of Crane or Soldier's Boat. We need to upgrade Naggaroth. We need to search ruins, sign the non-aggro pact, have 350 scrolls, which we're nowhere near, and with Grond capture a settlement belonging to Grond. And these guys only controlled, I think, 2 settlements actually. So we might actually do that next.
Our court thrives on plots and
You stand before the black.
So none of these guys are
Tyrant.
all that nice.
What dark and callous plans do you wish to?
What plight do you bring before the Black Core?
So it's a lot of, yeah, the Dark Elves don't seem to be all that willing to be friends.
The ocean awaits.
We can keep recruiting some Black Corsairs, which is pretty solid. We'll kind of keep doing that as we sail along.
We are restless.
So those beastmen got wiped out, which solves my problem there. So again, that the altar over here is fortified. That should give us at least a turn of preparation. We could get shades. Shades do have stalk. They have armor-piercing projectiles. They're just a pretty strong unit in general. Vanguard deploy. Let's see what upgrades can we get. So, unfortunately, the ammunition does not actually affect shades. Oh no, they have their own separate little thing, which actually is not bad. I think we will simply go for a rather boring sort of, but of a functional army here with her. Unfortunately, this area is definitely a bit fortified. We might have to end up investing in some fortifications up north just to simply hold them off. And in the meantime, we can keep sailing.
I approve of these dark deeds. Set the sails.
Unfortunately, my upkeep is I'm definitely struggling a bit upkeep-wise.
Noble boy.
We'll try to pick that up next turn. And yeah, I suppose we will end turn there. You can see we're definitely struggling a bit with control. A lot of these areas are completely chaos corrupted, and the chaos corruption is only being worsened by all those roaming vans. And yeah. Oh boy. We're actually gonna be in a bit of trouble because there's a whole bunch of raiding going on. There's unhappy populace now in galore, which is worsening our control in the province. And let's see. Oh, we got Naggaroth, which is nice. So that's definitely useful. That helps a lot. 10,000 gold is never to be understated.
Do not vex us further. The Black Tower.
Favored of the Witch King. Next, destruction.
Back a little bit, and we will build just a little bit more in the way of units. So we have a little more firepower and a little bit more stopping power. And I think that is going to be it. See, there's about to be a revolt there, but given that it's surrounded by potential enemies, I'm not too concerned about that. Chances are there's going to be a lot of sieging going on pretty shortly. So. So interesting. There's another Black Ark on the seas, which is interesting. And so what we're going to do is we're going to crush this army over here.
Awaiting command.
Attack.
Which will put a stop to the raiding. The screams.
Dreadlord. Conquest lies ahead.
Fight for me. Die.
And we can slay.
The world will kneel.
I am beyond defeat.
Druki, bloody slaughter awaits.
Release that's a nice amount of money.
Malekith, king of Naggaroth.
Cruel and savage.
The Druki are restless.
Carnage and bloodshed await.
There we go.
Yes, more power, more.
Those Dark Elves are angry folks.
The people grow restless.
Well, now we can use some of this money and we can level up some of our settlements. So we're actually going to level up our capital. We're going to try to get some of those tier 3 units going. And we'll swing good old Malekith back. We gotta be careful because Malekith's generals will become less loyal if we allow them to become too good. Warrior is kind of pitiful. Tormentor Sword's not bad though. We'll actually get we'll give her the sword here, the Naggaroth, and level her up so we can get either statistic or I think Linebreaker is probably a decent choice.
The people are with haste. Set the sail.
And we're gonna try to get out onto the sea and start building this stack up a little bit. Cool.
Cease your provocations.
Unfortunately, the fact that this is going to be a pretty significant hit because I do believe I have our recruiting building in there. That was rather unfortunate. So Galore has been degraded, which means that we now can no longer recruit our our normal infantry, which is definitely a bit of a problem. But what we can do is we can intercept these annoying Norskins and pay for that. So now this is actually kind of ideal because now we've softened them up a little bit. We can dart back into our own territory for a turn, and then push out and take Dagger's End next turn. So that's definitely kind of perfect. In the meantime, we can throw skill point into evasion.
Noble of Naggaroth.
We are about to have a revolt, so what we're going to do is we're going to shift our noble back home. Actually,
Merciless one.
Acheron's doing okay. Never mind.
Dreadlord.
Revolt's about to be here
Awaiting command.
in
Going
Altar
now.
of Ultimate Darkness. Yeah, we're just gonna keep sailing.
Sail, damn you! Plotting a course. The ocean awaits.
Yeah, we'll see what we can find. There's definitely some rites that could be performed. I knew we will perform this right, just try to get that public order into a more reasonable state.
Druki are restless. Noble of Naggaroth.
King of Naggaroth.
And
Welcome to the Black Court. No,
Lord, the Black Court is a daemon.
no, we share common purpose.
I have never been much of a diplomat.
And so we are going to try, let's see, request to shoot. We do have 2 stacks functioning, so what we can do is we can swing out here and hit dagger extend. I don't entirely know how strong the garrison here is, but it does seem to be a pretty standard sort of, it is a pretty standard Norse settlement, and we can occupy it, and that'll give us. Huh. And now we can get our fancy quest battle. It's pretty funny, like, weak army, but there's no doubt going to be like hordes of troops just swarming all over you. Trying
Master
to.
of cruelty.
So there's about to be a revolt there. There will shortly thereafter there will be a revolt over back home.
Hateful bidding. A novel prospect.
And in the meantime, our Black Ark is still kind of sailing the ocean blue.
Naggaroth. Such slaughter awaits.
Unfortunately, it's really difficult to actually get this level of population surplus. I'm not entirely sure how to level that up. If there's any tech for that. There's Black Ark technology there, but that doesn't affect the. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna go for battle in this.
Dread Lord of the Druki. Plotting a course. I admire your darkness. The people are displeased.
So it does actually look like some of our Dark Elf friends have actually pushed out. Unfortunately, that territory is really far away. We could actually repair these things, but this is a fortification, I do believe. And we could, you know, why not? We can get some cavalry. We'll even buy some Dark Riders, because that could be useful. These are of course dirt cheap, and they're not the most amazing cavalry, but they can run enemy troops down, and that's kind of all one can really ask for.
Moving. What
In the meantime,
awaits
we'll
me?
stay over there. And yeah, there's gonna be a revolt. It does look like the revolting armies do spawn in different areas near the capital. Maybe it depends on where they can't spawn near your army. Meantime, you can see that the ground is practically wiped out. And actually the Norscans up north are probably going to get wiped about in a little bit. It is definitely my intent to attempt to do that.
Tremble before the Witch King.
Not sure if that is as smart. Okay, well, I'll take money. another revolt
Dread
back in Naggaroth.
Commander!
So
Battle
what
at
we're going to do is we're
last!
going to go over there.
Cease your
Destruction
provocation.
lies beyond!
And you can see here a bit of a
Untouchable,
ridiculous...
undefeatable! Weakness has no place.
To be blunt, that was a pretty ridiculous engagement. You
Noble
losing so
of
many units for
Naggaroth.
no reason. Definitely should have probably
Onwards!
fought that one.
Onwards!
Simply saw the stats and figured it would be easily in my favor. And was proven, unfortunately,
beyond
Do
wrong.
not
defeat.
vex us further.
Unfortunately, now I do need to rush back home. And get to Naggaroth and defend against the revolt. In the meantime, we can march a little bit
My cruelty knows no limits.
with...
Death follows with me. Not now, but later.
We'll go after Iron Frost, and those guys probably... Actually, we're probably going to have to defend Daggerx then with this, the way we're inducing revolts here on
Favored of
ourselves.
the Witch King.
But, yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be it, I guess. Not entirely sure how Dagger's End is, what structures are available here. If there's anything unique, there's black roads, but nothing else seems to be available, so we'll simply be able to invest in a guild hall, kind of roll from there. I get some money, but we'll definitely want to fortify the north here, because it could actually...
Never.
We're actually going to go...
The true king. End them. By day.
and take Iron Frost,
My deeds of death.
which...
Come, true king, to battle.
means that we now control the majority of this north. Unfortunately, you can see the Chaos Corruption is ridiculous. Corruption alone is making this place incredibly difficult to hold on to. I'm not entirely sure what I suppose Bear Isle is the capital of this area. And
Master of cruelty. Unthinkable.
so Naggaroth, though, is pretty well fortified. Naggaroth tier 3 does have a 16 stack defending it, so even if these rebels do hit a 20 stack, it's going to be pretty well defended. So what we're going to do, we're going to level up our harbor. Actually, I don't really have the money for more than like one turn of sustaining. Anything, so I should probably hold off. We'll swing north with our general,
Establish a
heal up in
garrison.
Calera, and then go deal with these rebels, and yeah, go crush Johnny Reb there. And in the meantime, over here in Iron Frost, we can actually reinforce Malekith's army. We do have some Dark Riders. Yeah, so we'll flesh them out with spears. Be done after that.
Druki are restless.
And yeah, I think I do want to. What I think we're actually going to do is I did already invest, unfortunately, in these Corsairs, which was definitely a bit of a waste. But what we're going to do is we're going to scrap those Corsairs. We're going to sail the
ocean
Black Ark
awaits.
back home and kind of heal it up and try to rank up a little bit. Because our growth right now is pretty pitiful. And we definitely need to be in a bit of a stronger position before pushing it from there. Sorry about that, guys. Not entirely sure what these guys out here are. Cracker Coven, I suppose. Just by the name, I think is Dark Elves. Probably is. We're gonna swing south. We're going to go shut down Shroktak's Mount.
The people grow
Noble blood.
This army, unfortunately, is pretty weak. Wasn't this army though? Troll. There's definitely. Well, it'll be a 12 on. Won't be ideal. We're definitely going to have to fight this one, but these are Chaos Warriors who are pretty weak. The Warhounds shouldn't be too much of a problem. So honestly, it should be okay. I think the biggest problem here will be whether or not we can take the Chaos Lord on. We do have 73 and 440 to 65 and 55. So he has pretty crazy stats, all things considered. But yeah, we're gonna fight this one.
Death's touch.
So yeah. Let's see how things go. So that battle is over, and it was a brutal kind of trade. But
power, dark and violent. I am beyond defeat.
You cannot hold us.
Cruel Dreadlord. I shall destroy.
So
let them know.
we'll be able to simply auto-resolve here. One of the problems that we are gonna call, we'll be calling it a day in a little bit, but what is definitely a bit surprising.
They belong to me now. My power grows.
Is I don't know why, but I'm getting absolutely atrocious lag in I'm getting absolutely atrocious lag, and I'm not entirely sure why when I attempt to record battles. I try to pause and record battles. So I will attempt to somehow fix this. I will attempt to find a method of fixing that, but I'm not entirely sure how to do that. So unfortunately, you guys are gonna have to be a little patient with me as I do try to fix that and hopefully get it a bit under control and that. But I will be calling it a day here. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. As I said, there have been some technical difficulties. There's issues with the loading. There's issues with the recording, and I'm not entirely sure why the recording would be wrong. I had no issues with that with Warhammer 1. I've also had issues with taking screenshots with Warhammer 2. But hopefully those issues, I will be able to settle those issues, kind of figure them out, all that sort of stuff. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like I said, leave a like and subscribe down below. As usual, if you have any comments, criticism, any requests you'd like to make, be sure to post those in the comments, and I will respond as soon as I can. And I will see you all in the you guys all in the next one when we put down a bunch of revolts from annoying dark elves in our own backyard here.
We are ready to riot.
As usual, guys. I appreciate you all for watching. And see you all in the next one. Bye for now.